Today, instead of looking at a candidate or one of the issues or talking about the debates, I'm going to be talking about an incident that happened this weekend. In case you haven't heard the news, Bernie Sanders was giving a rally in Seattle. And he had a pretty decent crowd. Right before he began, some protesters started heckling him. And then two of them jumped on the stage, started grabbing the mic from him, and said that if they didn't get time to talk, they were going to shut down his little event. And the protesters, they were associated with the Black Lives Matter. This was the Black Lives Matter chapter out of Seattle. And, you know, right from the get-go, the whole thing was just a fiasco. You know, they started getting into a shouting match with Bernie Sanders supporters, you know, the people who came down to see what Bernie Sanders had talked. And this is not the first time that people associated with the Black Lives Matter crowd, movement, I should say, have interrupted a Bernie Sanders speech. This also happened in Arizona. And a lot of people are asking the question, why Bernie Sanders of all people? Out of the 20-some people who are running for president that the news media cares about, the big-time players, you know, why Bernie Sanders? He has the best record of civil rights, one of the best records on civil rights issues. He, you know, marched with Martin Luther King, and he was willing to get himself arrested in the 60s to fight for civil rights. Why him? Why not, you know, one of the Republicans or Hillary Clinton or any of the other Democrats? Already there's some people putting out, you know, conspiracy theories that the Black Lives Matter, it's funded by George Soros, who's a Hillary Clinton supporter. So he's basically telling Black Lives Matter people they want his money, they've got to interrupt Bernie Sanders so he'll lose the election. And I don't believe there's any truth to that. I watched the videos, and the people involved seem genuine. But it still begs the question, why are they going after Bernie Sanders? And I think one of the things that I would say is he's kind of a soft target. When these individuals, these two women, they jumped on the stage and they started screaming at him, the first thing he did is kind of raise out his hand to give him a handshake. They rejected it completely. And that's kind of the difference maybe between him and other candidates, where the other ones wouldn't put up with that kind of stuff. Especially with like Hillary Clinton. Now, she's the first, who was the first lady. She was the Secretary of State and former senator, so she has some pretty tight security with the Secret Service. So if anyone tried that, they would immediately have been tackled to the floor. And I don't think, you know, a Black Lives movement, if the Republican Party, they try that, they get the same results, tackled to the floor. So they go with Bernie Sanders because they know they can get on the stage and they can talk. And we might be wrong. Maybe they will eventually protest Hillary, protest the Republicans, and take those risks of jumping on the stage and getting tackled to the ground. But still, it does seem that there's a focus on Bernie Sanders. And I think what it comes to is they know that he can talk the talk, but they want to see that he can walk the walk. Yeah, he did a lot of stuff in the 60s and before, you know, this decade. But now, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement going on, they want to know that if he's going to be active in that. So they're kind of testing him, and they're saying, hey, you need to talk more about Black Lives Matter. I really don't have so much a problem with that. I don't see why you need to jump on the stage to do it. You could wait until question time and ask a question about Black Lives Matter, and Bernie Sanders will give you an answer. And I do think that we're going to see more of the Black Lives Matter protesters at other political things because they want to make sure that that issue is one of the issues of the 2016 election. And now there's one more thing I think I'll address. I've been kind of civil. Is that this particular group, Black Lives Matter in Seattle, I saw both of them, and I thought, you know, Arizona, those guys seemed all right. But the ones in Seattle, I think they're just a bunch of assholes. I mean, when they get up on stage, one of the first things one of them says is, you're going to let us talk, or we're going to shut you down. And I'm thinking, who the fuck says that? Those are fucking fighting words. You're not going to let someone else at a political rally, give their ideas, you're going to shut them down? No, that's the kind of thing you say if you want to get your skull cracked. And like I said, they went with Sanders because he's a peaceful guy. You know, he tried to shake their hands. They allowed them to talk. But like I said, the Bernie Sanders crowd, his supporters, they really did not like these individuals who just get on the stage. And then, like I said, it's just back and forth of them screaming and just, you must listen to what we have to say. And after a while, just people like, fuck them. And the fact that they think that this was going to be effective kind of gives me their mentality that, you know, they've got to stick up their ass and they think they can get away with anything. And if it had been some other rally, I think the story would have been much different. If you had interrupted, say, an NRA thing or a Tea Party rally. And I'm not just talking about being in the background and heckling them. They jumped on the stage and said, once again, you will listen to what we have to say, or we're going to shut you down. And it's like, what if someone had done that to them? You know, I jump in and I say, hold on, no, stop. You have to listen to me. I have a problem with crabgrass, and I'm going to shut down your thing if you don't give me time to talk about the dangers of crabgrass. Well, I'd be a dead honky, plain and simple. And I do wish the Black Lives Matter movement some success. And when I get to issues, I'll be talking about that. But, you know, the Black Lives Seattle can go fuck itself.